I am going to be talking about the latest chapter of Snowbreak Winds of Warmth. If you haven't done the story yet, please go do so because this video will contain some spoilers. Anyways, the recurring theme this chapter, Winds of Warmth, is that everybody has a choice to make, and sometimes when you make a choice, you're gonna have to sacrifice something. So in this chapter, the two main stars of the show, we got Longyan and Fritia. Both of these characters kind of have to make some type of choice. Let's talk about Longyan first, since she is the newest character. We do get some backstory in Longyan in this chapter. We know that Longyan's mother, who is named An, was an AI scientist who was obsessed with AI. She develops this supercomputer called the Throne System, and her mother, An, for whatever reason, wanted her daughter, Longyan, to merge with this supercomputer AI system so her daughter can become like this weird, omnipotent AI tyrant god that can oversee humanity. Yes, that's what her mother wanted. And Longyan does have a choice to make. She can either merge with a super AI computer like her mother wanted, or she could just be part of the adjutant's harem. Now, Longyan does initially choose to merge with the supercomputer at first because she thinks that doing this could help save humanity, because at the time this supercomputer was kind of going rogue and, you know, fucking up the cities and stuff. So she merges with the supercomputer for a bit to stop that from happening for a bit, but then she later realizes that this supercomputer is very powerful and it's actually slowly just consuming her. So she backs out of the choice and decides to join the adjutant's harem instead. Now, I don't know why her mom wanted Longyan to merge with this rogue AI supercomputer thing. I think that's bad parenting. I don't know why you would invent that for your child. That's kind of odd. So I'm kind of glad that Longyan kind of backs out on, you know, merging with this supercomputer and decides to become part of the harem. I think that's very good idea. I don't think it's ever a good idea to merge with some AI thing. You'll never know what could happen. I don't think that's a good idea. Don't do that. We do get some pretty romantic scenes with Longyan, especially when we're trying to save her from merging with the supercomputer, which was pretty good. Overall, pretty good character arc for Longyan, I believe. We also get to learn that in the beginning of the story, she was a half manifestation that has the power to see into the people's past. But in the beginning of the story, she couldn't control this ability very well, which is why she refused to accept gifts from people, because whenever she touches anything related to a person, she could see into that person's past, but she can't really control that ability very well. And the MC, the adjutant, basically kind of helps her control this ability by doing the therotropic nerve surgery on Longyan. Throughout the chapter, we get to see Longyan's teasing side, we get to see her sad side, we get to see her wholesome side. So pretty good character arc overall, in my opinion. The other star of the show, Fritia, also has some choices to make in this chapter as well. In the beginning of the chapter, we get an introduction to Fritia's new sexosuit, which is called the Ember 2.0. I also like how the Light Chasers kind of got like a small cameo with Fritia's backstory. In the beginning of Snowbreak, Fritia had the Ember 1.0, but that Ember 1.0 got hacked by this group of rich kids called the Light Chasers, which basically use technology and video cameras to like create their own fucked up Hunger Games, which is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting faction, but they didn't really like do much, partially because, you know, the group themselves basically consisted of rich kids. But now, not only does this Ember 2.0 act as like a combat outfit, but it also acts as a computer that could kind of connect with computers and technology and basically like boost the processing power of any computer that it connects to, which is pretty cool. Fritia was so proud of this exosuit that she was planning to enter this suit in a AI showcase contest, which is a pretty big deal because, for one thing, you have to have a pretty high IQ in order to enter this showcase, and this showcase only happens once every 7 years. So if you miss it, you basically have to wait another 7 years in order to participate. Later on in the chapter, when the MC has to go into the supercomputer to save Longyan, Fritia was on the outside, basically acting as the navigator for the adjutant, making sure the adjutant gets to Longyan in the supercomputer safely, and also get out of the supercomputer safely. Whenever she's using this Ember 2.0 suit, it's actually getting burnt out. And in order to save the adjutant, she basically has to use the suit at like 1,000% power. Otherwise, the adjutant will not make it out safely. However, the problem with that is that, well, if the Ember 2.0 suit gets burnt out, she won't be able to enter it in the AI contest. And she even realizes that the adjutant might scold her for overusing the suit, but she ends up overusing the suit anyway to save the adjutant. And, Fritia realizes it's not that big of a deal if she can't enter this AI contest, because as long as the adjutant is safe, everything's all good. So Fritia makes the correct choice by sacrificing her new suit to save the adjutant. Pretty interesting theme this chapter, making choices, and sometimes you gotta sacrifice something to make a choice, kind of just like how Fritia had to sacrifice her suit to save the adjutant, and Longyan having to sacrifice her mother's wishes to become part of the adjutant's harem instead of, merging with some ugly AI thing. Other characters that we get to see in this chapter, we got to see Sersie, who is doing good again. If you don't remember, last chapter, Sersie tried to sacrifice a lot of people in order to lure out the bad guy, but she realizes that's kind of a bad idea. So in this chapter, we see Sersie kind of just, doing community service things under Longyan, which is pretty good. She's making a good character arc here. Sophie also appears in this chapter. However, she wasn't very a big presence here compared to last chapter. This chapter, she was kind of just in the back researching the throne system, the supercomputer that was going rogue. She was basically researching that throughout this whole chapter. However, she does something very interesting and big in this chapter, and that is actually betraying Etta. So Sophie, as I said before, she was researching this throne system. She actually has, she kind of actually successfully merged with part of it. And that actually boosts Sophie's powers to the point where she can actually overpower Etta and basically cut Etta off. Now Etta's basically cut off from the rest of the world. Etta can no longer communicate with the planet. And Sophie is basically out here doing her own thing. Now, the betrayal wasn't really that much of a surprise. Last chapter, we do know that Sophie was planning to betray Etta eventually. We were just wondering how she was going to do it. And she basically did it by merging herself partially with the throne system and basically just, overpowering Etta. Acacia and Marian also appear in this chapter. They did a lot of work off screen, but they weren't really that much in this chapter, on screen. They were basically either fighting rogue machines or they were evacuating citizens. That's basically all they did, but they did appear, which is, pretty nice. Overall summary for this chapter is that the MC and gang are trying to find a supercomputer located in Lucalan because Etta is after it. However, the supercomputer ends up going rogue and hacks a lot of the machines in the city and kind of causes a havoc. We track down the supercomputer thanks to Fritia's help. We learned that the supercomputer was made by Longyan's mother, An. Longyan also realizes that her mother was kind of a sicko that wanted her to merge with the supercomputer. Now, Longyan does go along with it because she wanted to merge with it to stop the rogue supercomputer from attacking the citizens. But then she later realizes that I think her consciousness was slowly getting eroded when she merged with the supercomputer, and the MC goes in with the help of Fritia, gets her out. Longyan joins the harem. We get a cute romance scene for a bit, and then the rogue computer goes rogue again, starts attacking shit, and MC, with the help of Acacia, Marian, and Fritia, Longyan, we eventually tie up this supercomputer to some rocket and send it to space, which is pretty interesting because the AI computer was actually very OP, very strong. It actually merges with the Taijin, and it kind of becomes a being that can't be touched. So We basically had to just send it to space and, you know, that's it. That's how we beat the AI. And you got Sophie in the background, you know, kind of merging pieces of this AI to become stronger and overpower Eda. And now we got this very powerful Sophie that's like in the shadows on the loose that has to be taken care of. Pretty cool chapter. Not that many epic fight scenes, but that's kind of expected to some degree since, well, Longyan is a merchant. She's not really a combatant. And well, Fritia is not a combatant either. She's more like a computer geek. Now, don't get me wrong, both of them can fight and hold on their own, but combat isn't really that much of their specialty compared to like other characters like Life, Fenny, Kaya, even Haru or Boo Boo even, right? So regardless of that, you know, pretty good chapter. A lot of science babble here, so, you know, prepare your heads if you're, you know, gonna do this chapter. I'm actually pretty excited for the next chapter of Snowbreak because we got like a super duper powerful Sophie just, you know, wandering around. So I wonder how we're gonna deal with her. I wonder if Life is gonna make a comeback. We do know that Life is eventually getting like a new form in the future, so I wonder if Life is gonna take on Sophie. Maybe we'll team up with Eda to take down Sophie. I wonder how that's gonna go down, but I am pretty excited for next chapter. Let me know what you guys think about this chapter for Snowbreak, and I will see you guys later.
Bye bye now. Come again soon.